When you ask an AI a question and it gives you a perfectly articulated, entirely fabricated answer, the system is stuttering. It is filling the gaps in its knowledge with absolute fiction. We usually assume this flaw belongs strictly to the machines. We call it an algorithmic hallucination and blame the software. However, humans are susceptible to the exact same phenomenon. Take the example of an industry expert, a professional who mastered the field of artificial intelligence half a decade ago. In a field that moves this quickly, 5 years is an eternity. Because this professional stopped updating their knowledge base, they are now applying obsolete paradigms to current technology. They deliver this outdated information with immense authority, relying on years of experience to sound convincing. Listeners naturally accept their conclusions as fact. This shows that massive raw intelligence, whether biological or artificial, does not prevent a system from generating misinformation. Both biological brains and AI models rely on their initial training data to build a worldview. They process a massive amount of historical information to understand how a system is supposed to work. This creates a vulnerability called static training. When the learning process pauses, the system's internal knowledge base is essentially frozen. This graph shows a technical facts value plummeting over time. What was 100% accurate 5 years ago loses validity today. Without continuous updates, systems stay blind to this decay. Their internal map suggests the world is stable, even as reality shifts. Our expert relies on that flat line. They are using a projection of the past to solve a problem in the present. An AI model behaves the same way. Its knowledge cutoff date creates an identical blind spot, making it believe that obsolete data is still current. A hallucination is a failure to synchronize an internal database with the external timeline. The real issue begins when these outdated systems communicate their conclusions to other people. Incorrect data is easy to spot if it's delivered with hesitation. The danger stems from the absolute conviction of the delivery. This visual equation shows how the process works. Outdated knowledge, combined with high confidence, results in a hallucination. This is why an expert might confidently state that people focusing on the 2026 inference layer do not understand AI, simply because that layer didn't exist in their 5-year-old framework. That dismissal sounds authoritative. The sheer scale of the expert's confidence overwhelms the fact that their underlying information has expired. When an entity stops learning but continues to speak with authority, misinformation is a predictable result. So, how do we intercept this misinformation before it reaches the public? Simply building a larger model or finding a smarter human won't work. Raw intelligence cannot solve the problem of obsolete information. Instead, we look at the flow of data, from the training data to the model, and finally to the inference layer. The inference layer is the specific moment a system is asked to generate an answer. This is the point where an average user can actually intercept the process. Users can provide an immediate update. By teaching the system the correct context during the prompt, you bypass the outdated training data. You can also demand calibrated answers, forcing the system to acknowledge the limits of its knowledge rather than guessing. This user intervention helps the system recognize exactly when it must withhold its confidence, instead of speaking blindly. Intelligence is only as effective as the data it relies on. Staying relevant in the AI era requires both humans and machines to update their knowledge and identify exactly where their certainty ends.